Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, and welcome to 10 Dimensions of Wellness. I am your host, Cami Red, and on today's show, we have the owner of Purpose Driven Wellness, Miss Pamela Poole. So, Miss Pamela is going to tell us a little bit about Purpose Driven Wellness and a little bit about herself, and we're going to move on from there.
Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here with you all today. And I'm excited that you all are chiming in and getting motivated to better yourselves through wellness, integratively and holistically. My business is Purpose Driven Wellness, as she stated before. And I strive to encourage everyone to live an optimal health life. But I normally work with busy moms who are striving to get their normalcy back in their lives. As you all know, we have kids and we kind of devote our time and energy to them, and we kind of lose our way, whether it be mentally, physically, or emotionally. So my sole purpose is to help them to find a sense of balance. Because, of course, we're not going to, put our kids to the side. We're going to try to create balance and really thrive in this life of motherhood. I am a mother. So just to give a little backstory on who I am, I'm a mother of 4 kids. I have a 18, 17, 13, and 6.
Oh, girl, your hands are full.
Yes, they are. Like I said, I have a busy, busy life as well. And I was once that woman that was discouraged and felt like I didn't have time. That was my excuse. And then also, just not making the healthy choices. So a little bit of a backstory on that backstory, losing both of my parents at a young age to preventative things like cancer and diabetes. I wanted my sole purpose to be here for my kids well beyond those years. So I took it upon myself to say, hey, I got to stop making excuses. So I started, making those healthier habits and getting up and deciding to work out. So as a mother, we have to pick ourselves up sometimes, but at times when we just don't have that, people like myself and trainers are there to help you and hold you accountable. So that was my sole purpose of doing the purpose-driven wellness company to, create an environment that help busy moms and hold them accountable to achieve their goals.
So let me ask you a few questions. Tell us first, I know you touched a little bit about, your wellness journey and why you got started and working through family and hereditary pre-existing conditions. First of all, what were some of those pre-existing conditions that you were dealing with?
Well, myself, I haven't developed any pre-existing.
Just some of the things that were hereditary in your family, so to speak.
Oh, okay. Well, for my mother, she was diagnosed with diabetes around 35, 36. It was kind of late, but she was diagnosed with it, and she battled with it, and she really didn't want to come to, an understanding that things happen in life, and she didn't really take care of herself as well as she could have. And then for my father, he had developed cancer. It started out in his lungs and it moved up to his throat. So he ended up ultimately passing from cancer. And those things are preventative to an extent, because, sugar and all those things help those things grow.
Absolutely. Now, diabetes is definitely preventable. It's also reversible, except for type 1 diabetes. We
right.
can definitely, those of us who are diagnosed with type 2 late in life, we can reverse that diagnosis just by increasing our activity and changing our diet, which right. You already know, which is probably what motivated you to
exactly to make those changes. And my body type is definitely the diabetic, which is the waistline area. So those signs, those telltale signs was like, hey, you're going to have to put a halt to this and make some changes. So that was definitely a catalyst for why I decided to pursue my physical journey in health and wellness, and then also aspiring to help other mothers also.
So tell me some of the trends that you're seeing when it comes to single moms in their wellness journey or their transformation stories. Like, what are some of the issues across the board that you personally or your company, Purpose Driven Wellness, what you're trying to tackle and the key points that you're trying to get across to single moms?
I think the one is work and no play. Like, you, as a single mom, you're in survival mode.
Say that. That's very
And
true.
I mean, and honestly, I feel like as a single mom, I was just like constantly worrying about how to make sure the bills were paid, and my focus wasn't myself. So it was priority, of course, making sure my son was taken care of, fed, and then it was like making sure I made money so that we could have a roof over our head. So I would say survival mode is the biggest. I guess across the board, common issue that I've seen with moms, single moms, and then secondly, just not knowing. I think for myself, I didn't know a lot of things. Specifically, as a Black woman, there was a lot of things that we just have to know about
Educate
ourselves and our
ourselves
hereditary and
or
our DNA.
learn.
Yeah, that, I mean, you just you when you work out with predominantly white people, you kind of try to fit into that mold, but your body isn't built like that. Your DNA is different.
Yeah.
So just knowing what types of things you needed to eat, and also ways to incorporate physical fitness in a healthy manner instead of just jumping straight into it. So finding
Subtle
time.
transitions. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So finding time and getting out of that that mindset of saying that you don't have the time, and valuing yourself enough to do so, to make time
Yeah.
for yourself.
That's one of the things I teach as well, is that self-care is imperative. You can't take care of anybody else, even your children, without taking care of yourself. When I do have single moms as clients, what I like to stress is what happens to your kids when you're not around. So
Right.
if your children are a priority for you, then you have to be a priority for yourself.
Right. This is true.
Now, in the midst of everything that's going on right now, wellness is key because we are being attacked in several areas of wellness: our physical wellness, our emotional wellness, our mental wellness. It's coming at us from all angles. What are you doing? What is Purpose Driven Wellness doing to address the issues that are at hand with single moms? Like, what services are you guys offering? What programs? What suggestions, what wellness suggestions do you have for single moms during those, especially those that are not as busy right now, but find themselves locked in with their kids at home and still unable to be as active as,
Right.
they normally would be?
Right. I guess from my perspective as a health coach, because I'm not licensed or anything, but I would recommend them, first of all, to initiate some type of online Zoom type of therapy for the emotional. And spiritually, I feel like individuals need to take on a regimen or a some type of daily routine of meditation. Of course, you always constantly with the health. People don't realize that waking up in the morning, having a warm cup of lemon water is a good way to get your gut health started in the right way, which is your first brain. It tells your brain how to feel for that day. The foods that we have first thing in the morning, but just trying to encourage people that they need to continue to do the whole food. Physically, there's a lot of stuff you can do at home. I try to encourage people to make sure that even if you can't come to the gym, which was very hard, but we offered online workouts, or if you're at home and you can't afford to do the online as well, you could do things with your furniture. You can do push-ups, sit-ups, do a walk around the neighborhood. And then also working on your crafts will help you stay busy so you're not distracted and or preoccupied by all the stuff in the media, whether it be creatively or writing or working on a business plan. And then also with your relationships, yeah, you kind of bend in your relationships with your kids because you guys are spending so much time together, but you got to find some areas of common ground that you guys enjoy to do together. And sometimes you need that space away from each other. Even if you say, well, this is mama's time, go to your room, light some candles, or take a hot bath, and just take that time to yourself to really get acclimated and balanced and grounded, and create that space so you can come back and be, refilled so you can be a better mom for them.
Absolutely. Now, let me ask you something. You said something about finding that space in your own area. Now, you guys offer online classes. Do you have a YouTube page?
I do. Well, I don't have a specific page, but I do work with a company called Burn 45, and we offer online services and, of course, in person. We offer them twice a week online, and it's $29. And then if you come into the studio, we offer for unlimited classes. You get for $75. I keep saying bucks, for $75. Yeah, and then we also offer one-on-one, depending on if you're already an existing member or not. That will depend on what the one-on-one rates will be.
So now I know you work with single moms, but do you ever incorporate any wellness for kids into their lifestyle so that it's sort of a family type of situation?
Well, I have before in the past, but frankly, I found that a lot of moms use their gym time as their self-care
Therapy.
time. Right. And I have had even these past few months, the boys are starting to get back into football and all that stuff. They come in, but I try to make sure that they stay separate from mom. You know what I mean? Like they have their core and cardio over here, and mom is doing something else. We definitely want to get to where we offer something just for the kids, but with the pandemic and everything going on right now, we just kind of are playing it by ear. But
I know. Well, you're a mom, so let's talk about this. How do you feel about them, trying to open up schools with everything we know about health and everything we know about this pandemic? How are you feeling about, the return of children to an environment that was already slightly unhealthy? So,
from my personal experience, pushing aside all my, health and wellness stuff, I wish that there was a easier answer for this. I personally, as a mother that's not an educator, I work with kids, but I feel like it's best for them to have some type of normalcy. Not every district or every county offers the same amount of
resources.
Yeah. So I have friends that had their students who had Zooms every day for their students when they were out for the initial quarantine, and my kids had me, they had the rundown of what to do each day, but it was solely up to me to make that. So to answer your question, for me personally, it would be better if they could get everything situated with making sure everything's clean and properly prepared for the students. I want that normalcy for my kids. They learn better when they're in an environment with other kids that are learning. It's a little bit more difficult at home. So my answer to your question is I feel like it would be great if the kids were prepared beforehand. And it always starts at home. If the mothers are feeding them the food that they need, preparing their immune system, making sure they're informed about the social distancing, also wearing their mask and washing their hands, I think that everything will work out.
Okay, so sending the kids back to school with the face mask, with the visors, those type of face masks. do you think it should be an age restriction on which kids go back to school and which ones don't? Only because, you're talking about kindergarten through probably about third grade, where I don't think social distancing would technically work in any way, shape, or form. And you can't keep kids from keeping things out of their mouths at that age.
That is true. And I'm speaking from experience. Like I said, I currently work with 4 and 5-year-olds at a daycare service, and it's impossible. And wearing a mask is, it's not happening. So yes, like I said, they would have to incorporate some way of increasing their staff and or doing small groups if they were going to do kindergarten to third grade, to make sure that there was enough space for all of them to have enough distance.
Because the problem with kids, it isn't their kids are into touch therapy, is what I like to call it. They want to touch each other. They want to be social. They are into very much so interacting physically with other children.
Right.
So
they are.
Even with them being at home, it's different because they don't get that same connection from adults that they get from other children. So I get where you're coming from completely. Yes, it is an issue. Like, I read an article the other day, this mom whose son is autistic. She was complaining because she was saying, let's just try to find some sense of normalcy, because it's breaking her heart that it's killing, you can literally see her son dropping back in, reverting back in his learning, because of, being stuck at home or because of certain situations. So she was saying, she's not for our current president, but she needs us to find some sense of normalcy, because for children like that who depend on social, interaction just for their development, that's needed. So we have to find a way to, sort of incorporate that back into their lifestyles, or into, especially, one of the things that we have, and I actually had a mental health therapist on my show last week. One of the things that the United States is not really focused on during this pandemic, so to speak, has been mental wellness. And we haven't talked about the suicide rates. We haven't talked about, the death rates not related to COVID-19.
Right.
Yeah. So there, one of the things that people really didn't pay attention to, and I'm probably going to end up saying this on a lot of my shows from this point on, was everything that occurred during this pandemic, and sort of right during the right before all of the protests that have been currently going on, was we were stuck in the house for 3 months. So a lot of people had cabin fever. A lot of the things, the looting, the rioting, the protests, all of that was because we were stuck in the house for 3 months. Right. So imagine if you are a 5 or 6-year-old who has no control over any aspect of your life, and you're stuck in the house, and you're being told, one, you can't go outside right now. B, two, you can't go interact with other children right now. Right. 3, when you do go outside, you have to wear this mask. So that's a little bit scary within itself. So, how do you, as a single mom, as someone who works with single moms, not just to help them physically, but I'm pretty sure that you're guiding them mentally as well. What are some of the things that you are actually using to motivate your parents so that they're actually, because let me tell you something, like you said, you're not a teacher, so you don't really have that 24/7 stay-at-home mom type of, thing going on. So what are some things that you are telling these moms, or some ways you're helping them cope with, this same
Right.
dynamic of being at home.
Yeah, I'm gonna be real honest with you. I think I've reached out to a few teachers and was like, and to be honest, a lot of the teachers, it was a whole different ball game for them. They're used to teaching other students and everything, but the thing that's common is that when it's your child, it's just different. They receive you differently. So I just think that we both just finding some accountability and having someone else to talk to was my advice. Was like find someone or phone a friend to see what they're doing. And a lot of people were just, giving their kids that extra break. Everybody needed a break from the chaos of being on the computer. Or for me, I had a friend that I would send an email to or call them and say, hey, what are you doing to help keep your son on track? And she'd be like, okay, we did this and we'll do a few here. And so just find an accountability partner, someone who may be stronger at one thing than you are, and you guys could just, bounce off
Off
each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're all in this together. And like I said, the teachers, even some of the teachers were like, I was ready for my kid to go back, I'm ready for him to go back, because even though they have that teacher mindset, it's different when it's your child because you have a different level of patience with them.
Yeah.
Whereas when you get paid for it in your career, it's a little different because you
go in with an
show up
understanding of
differently.
patience. You go
Right,
in
you
with the
show up
understanding
differently.
that I have to look at this in a different perspective because, this is my job and I work with children. However, as a parent, your
Right.
perspective is, oh my God, these are my kids. What am I going to do with them?
Right. Exactly. It's almost like you turn off the switch when you walk in the door. You're no longer, teacher Pam. Now you're mama Pam, and you don't pick up that textbook and go into teacher mode. You
Yeah, and your
don't.
patience level isn't the same
Right.
because you're like, oh my God, why can't you get this? You're my
Right.
child. I'm explaining this to you in this
Right.
aspect.
Yeah, you do. You get like, why you don't know this? And I mean, in my case, I had a 6-year-old and a 13-year-old, and me understanding her information, which to me was a little bit more advanced than what I was used to when I was in first grade, was totally different than what my 8th grader or 7th grader was learning, because I'm like, son, I can't help you. I ain't been in middle school in years, So like I said, just finding friends that can help you with that curriculum.
Girl, this new
Yeah,
the new education system, the new math, the new all of this is
exactly.
different for us because we didn't grow up with this. So, trying
Hmm.
to be a tutor to these kids is difficult within itself because you're learning. Like you literally have to learn a new way of doing math, a new way of doing science, a new way of computing things, and everything
Hmm.
is online. So they're sitting in front of a
Online.
laptop, and you're like, "What is this?" And I don't know if you're like
And
me,
all we used to have is a calculator and a pencil and
right?
paper. That
I
was
need a
it.
piece of
Right.
paper. I need a pencil. I gotta
My
write this
fingers,
out. Yeah,
my
like
toes.
I'm counting. I'm like, what is this? What are you talking about? This goes up. No, 1 plus
So
1 equals 2. That's it.
every time, every time.
So,
You're
I
right.
totally get it. I'm there with you. Like, like I said, I got a 13-year-old nephew. So, getting him to do the work, getting him
Right.
to get on the laptop was a feat within itself. And I actually pitied his teachers because they had to find ways of making this interesting for them.
Exactly. Yeah.
This was a difficult situation, but let me get back to this. Let's talk about some of the diseases and some of the things that are impacting the African American community and some ways that we can sort of combat them physically and nutritionally. Now, my area of expertise is nutrition. So that's where I'm always fighting my fight with people. And it's much easier. And I'm going to say this from an aspect of a personal trainer. So for you, I feel like it's easier for you to get your foot in the door talking to people about nutrition than it is for me, because I come in talking about what you need to eat.
Right. I used to be like that too. So don't feel bad.
Well, see, I'm not a personal trainer. I'm an RDN. My job is to come in the door talking about how we can make transitions and how we can make substitutions, which is the last thing people want to hear.
Right.
Even when, like, for instance, I work with doctors' offices and hospitals. When they send me clients, and usually they're generally the people who need our help the most.
Right.
You get those clients who are beyond medication. And when you're beyond medication, that's already a problem, because medication should be the last thing that you rely on. So even those people, me explaining to a client that eating 1,000 calories in one meal can actually be spread out throughout a day's worth of food if you eat it right.
Right.
They're
probably like, they're freaking out now.
Yeah, because, and I'm gonna be real with you. I'm not gonna, I'm just giving you scenarios, hypotheses. You telling a 500-pound man that what he's eating for, with his Big Mac in one meal, he can actually eat more food throughout the day and consume the same amount of calories. They don't understand that. It's the craving of that food that they actually want. So how do you, so to speak, combat that issue? Because I'm going to give you a prime example. I'm working with a client right now who has had a personal trainer. And the reason why she came to me is because her personal trainer has her in a group like class, and she noticed that some of the ladies were dropping weight way quicker than she was. And she was asking the ladies what had they done and what were they doing differently that, was causing them to drop more weight than what she was. And they told her, we changed the way we eat. And so she came and she says, I need to change the way I eat. She said, I'm paying my personal trainer all this money to get me in shape. And I'm getting in shape, but I'm not losing weight. So now, how do you get where I'm coming from? And that's what I explained to her. When she came to me, I said, well, sweetie, here's the problem. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, personal training in itself, it has no race. You know what I mean? It's the 80-20 rule. I don't care what race or whatever. It's 80-20. It's 80% of what you eat and 20% of what you do physically. So it starts at the kitchen table. And I've actually got a magazine coming out, and I got my own little theory or whatever in there, but we'll talk about it another time. But it's important to as a personal trainer or as a group fitness instructor, let them know that no matter how long you work out or what you do, if you don't change the way to eat, you won't see the results. And then after changing the way you eat, we can kind of manipulate the way you work out to get the look you want, as close as we can get it. And as a race, I think my biggest challenge was just getting people to change their mindset. We deal with so much tradition that we don't want to come out of it. Whether it be, we grew up on fried foods, pork, just things that make us feel like home. And I'm guilty of that. I mean, for years I was like, I gotta have my macaroni and cheese and da 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 da. But the thing is you can still have those guilty pleasures, but in moderation. And if you already have a pre-existing issue, you don't have time to play. I mean, is it either you're going to have the optimal health you want, or you're going to sacrifice and potentially give yourself something that's terminal. So I would say that as a personal trainer, wellness coach, that I would initially let a person know, hey, I'm here for you. I meet you where you are. What are your goals? Because I realized my biggest challenge with any client was wanting it more than them and trying to do it for them, because I'm so passionate about it. And I was once you. Like, I'm like, you got to cut this, do that, da 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 da. And they're looking at me like, girl, whatever. But I think with integrative nutrition, if you allow that person to identify what it is that they want to do first, and then walk them through how to get there, whether it be a big feed or small, they're going to have to do small.
Don't get it twisted. I'm down with integrative nutrition. It's just that you have to understand, I don't come in from a personal training aspect. I'm a nutrition. Right. My aspect is all about food. I'm not going to tell you I'm not telling you what activities or what exercises you need to do in order to, make your body look a certain type of way. When you come to me knowing automatically you're coming to change the way that you eat everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, if you already got pre-existing issues, and a lot of people that you're dealing with have pre-existing issues, they don't have time to play.
Like
you're here as a last resort. Like
when you come to me, it's not, let's play around, let's make a decision of, hey, we're wanting to do this, and I can afford to take 30 days off and decide whether or not I'm going to do this. No,
right.
You actually are here because you need to make this happen. And I actually, to piggyback on something you said, I have a program that we do that's called 30 pounds in 30 days. And this is a marketing ploy for me, because I'm not focused on you losing weight throughout this process. Actually, what I'm doing is I'm focused on you changing your mindset about how you view food, changing over the 30 days, because as we all know, it takes 21 days to form a habit.
Right.
Yeah. So
I like that.
In 30 days, I would have trained you on enough information to where you would have changed the way you think about food completely, and you would have instilled lifestyle habits that you will continue to do. So yes, you will lose weight. Now, if you stick to my meal plan and go according to what the things I say, you'll lose probably more than 30 pounds. But at the end of it all, you would have changed the way you think about food, and you would have changed your lifestyle dramatically.
Right. Yeah. After you get your palate acclimated, and I mean, honestly, once you start eating healthier, you start seeing the results and you start feeling better.
You don't want anything else.
Normally you're just convinced at that point. So I do get that. Yeah. If you're working with clients that, that have to make the change, you don't have time to address things according to how they want to address them.
But we do. Let me tell you this. I meet people where they are. I'm Southern. So one of the things that I like to explain to people is being Southern is not an excuse for the way you eat. I eat banana pudding, but I don't make my banana pudding the same way you do.
Right.
So you
just do different ingredients.
It's different ingredients. It's different setup. It's different. It's the same exact dessert, but it's not all the sugar. It's not all the additives. It's not all the extra stuff. As a matter of fact, it's a little bit more healthier with a little bit more nutrients. I still get my meringue because I use aquafaba. You know what I'm saying? So you can still have the same things. You just have to look at it in a different perspective. I still eat salmon patties. I just don't cook them the same way that everybody else does. I don't use canned salmon. I use fresh salmon. I don't fry them. I bake them. So, it's a total different transition with food. So when I explain that to people, I try to explain it to them on the sense that you are the only person making nutrition hard.
Right. Yeah, let's work this thing out. We're just gonna, give this meal plan a try.
Yeah.
Just, implement this, try what I used to call making the old new, and make what you're traditionally used to and making it better. Because like I said, with mac and cheese, I've done that. I've switched that around. Of course, making anything that's traditionally fried, you can air fry it now or bake it. You can pan fry it in the oven with olive oil versus deep frying it. Yep. So we've implemented that a few times, even in my process of doing healthier options.
So that's like, I've been looking for ways for us to make our community understand that the importance of health. We were attacked by a disease that this go around, and it was primarily on us.
Right.
So we and I feel like it's a responsibility to those of us who work in the wellness community now, to get the word out to our own community of how important it is to incorporate a healthier aspect of the way we look at food and the way we look at activity into our lifestyles. It's important for us to, sort of spread the word that eating processed foods, eating boxed and canned and jarred foods are, no longer the thing of savvy.
Right. It's not. I'm trying to, like, our work. I'm currently working on a project to do community gardens. We have one existing community garden that we need to get active, but Whole Foods is a big thing for me. I still incorporate grocery hauls in my wellness program for my clients, where we actually go into the grocery stores and we shop the perimeter, and I explain to them why it's important to do that. And we read labels. Even my kids do it now.
Girl, wait, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I don't know, what grocery stores are in your area?
Well, we have Aldi's, which is my favorite because everything in there is kind of healthy, health driven, no artificial dyes or sweeteners. But we have Bilo's, Ingles, Publix, Food Lion. And I think those are the major ones that we have around here. But we don't have like Kroger's and.
So let me tell you what Kroger's has started doing. Okay. So, our biggest thing used to be shop the perimeter, right? Shop the perimeter, stay around the perimeter, because that's where all the healthy stuff is.
Right.
Kroger's has started incorporating everything within the store. So now, instead of shopping the perimeter or shopping where they have the health foods and all that stuff sectioned off, now they have the regular peanut butter next to the healthy peanut butter with this little green leaf over it. So so now it's become more of a price comparison type of thing than it is anything else. So I'm now warning my clients and my patients, like, hey, listen, here's the trick of marketing, and here's what they're starting to do. They're starting to merge everything. So now it's a numbers game. So now, instead of you looking at the health value of food, you're going to start focusing more on the dollar amount. And I need you to understand that it costs absolutely nothing for me to put preservatives and chemicals in a jar and call it peanut butter. But for me to put real peanuts in a jar and actually utilize real peanuts, real peanut oil to give you real peanut butter, that is an actual process that costs money.
Right.
So looking at that $1.99 peanut butter and looking at that peanut butter that costs $3, please understand the value in what you're looking at.
Right. Just think about your body as like your car. Well, it's like your car, because I'm not going to put that in my car. Like, I'm not going to put.
You're not going to put diesel gas in your car because it doesn't go in there. Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
treat your body just like you do maintenance on your vehicle. You want to make sure you're doing daily maintenance on your make sure you're adjusted, your spine is in alignment. You want to make sure that you make sure you're grounded. You want to make sure that you're putting good, healthy foods inside your body. I mean, we're not perfect by all means, but for the most part, you want to make sure that you're creating those healthier habits when you go into the store. And yes, people, I hear that a lot from my clients. It just costs more. But yeah, people don't realize that foods that don't have preservatives in them last a ton longer than the stuff with preservatives in them.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I have some vegan cheese in there, and like I've had it for a couple of months. But if you get regular, well, I won't say cheese, that's a bad example. But like I use oat milk instead of regular milk or almond milk.
Well,
And, you
that's
know,
what I was
regular.
going to say. Even if they're just going over to almond milk, you'll see that regular cow's milk lasts for what is it, 2 weeks? Is that the?
If that, I don't know. Maybe if it's
I
like
don't look.
freshly.
You
It's been
clearly
so
we
long
don't,
since I
look.
bought it.
That's what I was gonna say. Clearly, we don't drink regular milk because we
Right.
both asking that question.
Yeah, like
So
I
I'm
don't
like,
know.
but like almond milk, the lifespan is about what, a month, 2 months, 3, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So even with that, just look at the healthier stuff. It
Right.
lasts longer. But I guess my issue is, how do we incorporate this into a message of you have to change your mindset of food. It can't be this quick, ready-made type of microwave mentality. We are getting sicker and sicker with the
Right.
with the type of diet that we have. Like I said,
Right.
COVID-19 came, it hit us, and it hit the African American community in a very hard way. They want to say it's not because of underlying conditions. It's not. It's because of dietary fat.
Right.
So it's because of the way we eat. It's because of how we approach wellness. And I'm gonna tell you this. And I got this from someone who I least expected it to hear from. My nephew's father came by to drop some things off for him, and we were talking about, the rise of COVID-19 in Florida, Texas, Georgia, and all of the areas that we frequent. And, like, he is the least health and wellness type person. And the thing that came out of his mouth was, he was like, he said, I'm going to be honest with you. He said, we don't care about our health.
Right.
And I said, wow. I said, I knew that already, but I've never really, heard someone outside of the wellness community say that or express that in a way that it's true. We don't care about our health. How do we start getting this message across to people so that they do start caring about their health?
And I guess I want to piggyback off of what he was saying, and I guess I want to go deeper. I think a lot of it is I guess it's subconsciously we don't know that we're doing it because it's been passed down. Not that our ancestors didn't care about their health. It's just that I feel like it's passed down that health isn't like priority. So
I was just going to say, it was never a priority because it was never allowed to be a priority.
Right. It was just, you had to survive. And even food was a survival mindset. Like you got what you could, and you know what you could raise and do on your own. The one thing that we have to get back to is being self-sufficient and having our own gardens. And it's not terrible to eat chicken if they're, raised in the yard or
free range,
or anything like that. It's how we get our food and also how we prepare our food. So I mean, to go back to what you were saying, to get people to care about their health is to put it in their face more, and to invent their mindset by saying you're going to have to unbecome what you once were to really hone in on them caring about how their health is, because obviously the numbers aren't changing anything, and the way we prepare our food and the convenience of our food is making it easier for somebody to spend $2 on a burger than to go home and fix a meal that's fresh, So it's just going to take time like anything else, but we're definitely going to have to start speaking up and getting out in the communities and making people more aware of how they can, make these changes for their health, and show them how really truly thriving and being healthy looks.
Okay. Well, what I want to do now is go ahead and give people your marketing information. Tell them how they can get in touch with you, where they can see you, where they can find you on social media. Tell them a little bit about how they can book your services with you, where you're located, and what you guys offer.
Of course, again, my name is Pamela Poole, but on Facebook, I'm Pamela Walker. But I have a page. It's a business page. It's called Purpose Driven Wellness. And my email for that is bethechangelivewell@gmail.com. I'm on Instagram on livewell_health coach. You can inbox me on either one of those platforms. Or through email. Again, that's bethechangelivewell@gmail.com. And my phone number is 864-710-4260, and I'm out of Seneca, South Carolina. And currently I have 6 months one-on-one health coaching accountability program for busy moms. And then we also have a group or 6 or more at a prorated price, because of course you're going to be with a group of ladies, and that'll also increase your accountability, and also just have someone to go along with you through the course of your program. And let's see here. And if you're in the Seneca, South Carolina area, I also do group training and personal training at Burn 45 Fitness, and you can find me on Facebook on there on Burn 45 Fitness Studio. So that's just a little bit there. And also I'll be having a magazine coming out soon called Liberate Her, and that magazine is to liberate women of all ages from teenage years to 40 plus, and we'll visit topics as small as sex as far as menopause,
Oh,
So
I am excited to read that.
Yes, ma'am. I'm excited for it to come out. We had a few holdups with the quarantine and pandemic, but as soon as it comes out, I'm definitely going to make sure I shoot that over to you where you guys can pick it up. It's going to be an online magazine, so it'll be on the digital magazine stands as soon as it comes out. So I'm also, if you want to follow me on Instagram, I have a Liberate Her Facebook page as well. I mean Instagram. So it's just Liberate Her, in all one word.
Send me that, and what I'll do is I'll put that, because I have your Instagram for your business. Send me the Liberate Her Instagram, and I'll put that on the marketing info for this particular episode as well. So guys, all of Pamela's marketing stuff will also be attached to this episode's information. So if you didn't write that info down, you can definitely find it in the description of this particular episode. But that is going to end the 10 Dimensions of Wellness for today. And I'm going to invite you guys to check out our website, nriwellness.com. Also, we are currently registering for our September class of our 30 and 30 program, as well as our Enhancing Our Creativity Through Nutrition program. And don't forget to catch us every morning on Facebook Live in our Guiding Lights meditation group, as well as our 21 days of gratitude challenge that is currently going on for the month of July. Everyone is invited. Post your gratitude, 3 things that you're happy or grateful for every day. And you can listen to this podcast on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Google, Apple Music, and more. Thank you again for tuning in, and catch us next week again on 10 Dimensions of Wellness with NRI Wellness. Have a great evening, you guys.
Thanks.